We're back. Hello, we are back. And Jessie's here, Jessie Riddle, who just played some Wolf Among Us with us. Some Wolf with us Among Us. But, Jessie, I hope you've had fun so far.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
See,
it was a lot more intense than I expected, but in a good way.
Good. I knew you'd have a lot to say about that game too. That being said, we've talked a little bit about your fairy tale research. We've mentioned a little bit about your other research, but I think it's interview time and we should get into it. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Before we get started, I would like to make sure that we do not skip mentioning the wonderful, intrepid, and give me a new adjective.
Amazing and gorgeous and fantastic and intelligent.
Indefatigable. Folkwise interview sleuths that help us write these interview questions every week. Jessie, if you like a question, it makes you smile or makes you embarrassed, don't thank us. Thank the sleuths.
I will.
Okay.
I know. I personally.
So let's get into your interview, Jessie.
Cool.
So your dissertation that you were writing, that you're doing research on, is about the Virgin of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
And in Mexico, but also in Utah, where you live.
Yes.
And I guess
more specifically in Utah.
More specifically in Utah, yes. And I guess the question I really want to know is, as someone who wasn't raised Catholic, what is your most favorite aspect of the Virgin of Guadalupe?
That's a good question.
Sleuths.
Okay. Oh, hi, Eric.
Husband
brought snack.
He got you a snack?
He's the best.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, what are what emote are we doing for Eric bringing a snack? Garlic in the chat for that, people. Garlic in the chat.
Chomp that garlic. Chomp
that garlic in the chat.
Okay. Okay. So there's probably a lot of things, but one of the things that I love the most about the Virgin of Guadalupe is the way that she gets used in so many different contexts. So like, for example, I was driving home the other day and I looked into the parking lot and there were a bunch of Our Lady of Guadalupe statues that people were selling in the grocery store parking lot. And I was like, yes, awesome. And then the other thing that I really, really love, I just lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. Nope, it's gone again. Anyway, I like her application in lots of different settings, and one of the sort of more offbeat things is the way that she also gets used in like brujeria and curanderismo and stuff, which I think is amazing. Oh, it came back to me. Okay. Also because when I was a missionary for the LDS Church, which I am no longer a member of, but when I went on a mission to Chicago, and I was Spanish speaking. And this was really my first introduction to Our Lady of Guadalupe because I was working with primarily people from Mexico who were Catholic. And they were like, I'm Catholic. Why? Why would I want to listen to you? But they were super nice, all of them. Incredibly so. And one of the women we worked with had joined the LDS Church, but still had a picture of the Virgin of Guadalupe in her house, in her apartment.
Yeah.
And some missionaries prior to us really got upset about that. So there's like a whole body of lore. And Dom, I think you and I have talked in the past about some of the weird like Mormon Catholic
oh my God.
stuff about images and the way that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as it is now, gotta say the whole thing now, it distinguishes itself from Catholicism, or in the past has, in large part by saying we don't, A, put that much emphasis on the Virgin Mary, and B, we don't do as much of an emphasis on pictures, which is interesting because there's tons of art in any LDS chapel you go to.
I was going to say, wait, really?
Canonically blonde Jesus.
Because not only canonically blonde Jesus, but like pictures of the prophet.
Right, no. Pictures are good, but specifically, you can't pray to those pictures or use those pictures as really part of your worship in an active way. In a passive way, where you're like looking at the picture and having a spiritual experience, absolutely.
But not really in, like, what Catholics are doing.
No, it's not. This is what we've talked about.
Exactly,
also,
yes.
but that's the thing that a lot of missionaries, especially people who grow up in Utah, think is happening and feel strongly about. And so the missionaries prior to us had been like really upset with her that she had this painting in her house, which is toxic on like lots of levels. Hindsight is 20/20. But when I was there, I was like, okay, so talk to us about it. Like, you have this up in your house, little pre-folklorist baby Jessie. Why do you have that there? And she was like, okay, so when my kids get sick, I want to talk to a mom who's had sick kids.
Exactly.
And I had this like light bulb moment where I realized that I want to be clear, there are lots of things that I loved about growing up in the LDS church. Lots of things I didn't, but lots of things I did. But one of the things I didn't necessarily get was a really strong, positive, feminine or maternal role model. And we can get into that later if you want. But
you never crowned Mary.
No. Yeah. And it made so much sense to me that you want to be able to talk to a mom
exactly
in a divine and spiritual way and access that aspect of God. And I was like, oh.
Now if anyone if anyone has any questions why Italians love Catholicism, because they always have a mom to talk to.
I was gonna say, this makes so much more sense now.
Exactly.
It's all mom time.
It's all mom stuff. Yeah.
Moms, hi if you're watching.
Also,
moms,
I want to point out if we have to say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Catholics ought to insist you say the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.
Oh my gosh, I'm feminine. I'll try. I'll mess it up, but I'll try. Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Jessie, I actually kind of had a follow-up to that I don't want to say because it might be part of your answer to the next question.
Okay.
Should I get into the next question?
Ask the next question and then you can add your follow-up.
So, how do immigrant communities create a sense of place in Utah?
Okay. Well, there are lots of immigrant communities in Utah.
Exactly.
And I am working specifically with Mexican-American families and to some extent the broader like Latinx population here in Rose Park, which is northwest suburb community in Salt Lake.
Exclave.
So I don't know that I'm going to be able to speak with any authority on like the Syrian community in Utah, which is also a thing, or from any other number of places. But what I have noticed here in Rose Park, which is named for the Virgin of Guadalupe, roses.
Oh, yeah.
It's super awesome. Is that in addition to place names, it's like I was talking about in that parking lot in the grocery store, right? It's everyday practice. I think more so even than really big landmarks.
Yeah.
So like taco trucks and restaurants that have become a fixture in the community and that people will go hang out at. Places that people sort of habitually go to take on their own identity and meaning, and that in conjunction with probably the more special places like the tree in Salt Lake where the Virgin appeared, things like that matter, but it's the everyday stuff that really I think creates a sense of place and creates that relationship that people have with a neighborhood.
Did you say the tree in Salt Lake where the Virgin appeared?
I did.
You can't just leave that one dangling.
I was gonna say, are we gonna talk about all the magical trees that there are in Utah? Because I've got one of those in Provo also. There's a lot of magic trees.
Okay. I don't know about the magic Provo tree, I don't think anyway, so you should talk about it. Because I spent a lot of time in Provo, so I probably should know. But the tree I'm talking about is in Salt Lake, and I don't even remember how many years ago it was, but the image of the Virgin of Guadalupe was said to have appeared in the tree. People would go see the tree. They would leave, flowers, candles, things like that. And at some point, it was defaced, the image in the tree, but people continue to go to it, which is also interesting. So there's it's an image of her, but it's like covered in plastic to protect against weather and whatever else might happen. And you can like climb up the steps. It's like a tree house, but with no top.
Oh, cool.
you like stand next to the tree and you can look at it, even though it's not there anymore. And I think that's so indicative of of other traditions relating to the Virgin of Guadalupe, where when the situation changes, people are like, okay, we're going to work around that. We're going to find a way. You're telling me I can't be in this place at this time? That's fine. We'll find another way to do it. So anyway, I kind of love that. I think that's awesome.
That is. Kind of going back to your work with immigrant communities. I guess I want to say, how were you prepared for all of this by your summer you spent working for the Smithsonian Folklife Festival?
So set the stage.
Yes.
2017.
That's right. Good year.
Baby folklorist Jessie goes to the Smithsonian Folklife
Miss
Center.
Riddle goes to Washington.
I did, and I met Olivia Cadaval. I met other people there too who are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be overly dramatic about this, but
she's really cool.
She's really cool.
She changed my life.
She's really fucking cool.
In a couple of ways. And oh my gosh, talk about Olivia. But the exhibit was called On the Move, and the whole thing was framing our understanding of the mobility of culture and the way that people bring culture with them when they travel out of just the framework of migration.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the activities we had people do when they came to like see the performances was draw a map of their family history, either where their family like in their memory had moved or where their like grandma and great great grandpa had lived. And I grew up in Utah with family trees, so I was like,
yeah, oh,
I got this. Let me show you Iceland and the Isle of Man. But I just think that was a really useful framing, is that it's about movement. And sometimes we get so hung up on that word migration and its legal connotations and its social connotations and its racial connotations that we don't think about the way that we are all translocal and that we're all connected. And that even when you move from Indiana to DC or from Utah to Indiana,
from Maryland to Florida,
you're taking stuff with you and you're adapting to the place that you move to, right? And that's not to say that there are specific experiences that come with migration. Like there are, and really hard ones sometimes. But for me, that was an important shift. And then also, Olivia just like, I want to live her life, man. Like, you go to her house. Okay, I want to think about how I want to say this live. Sometimes when you meet people who have a job that you have dreamed of, you meet them and you're like, you don't seem very happy. Like you have a really cool job, but you seem really stressed all the time, which is normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anxiety is a thing. But Olivia seems, although she has lots of hard things in her life, to be a legitimately happy person.
Yeah.
And I think so much of that comes from the way that she interacts with the people at the festival, both the performers and the visitors. She sees them as real people.
Hell yeah.
I could go on to that.
I love that answer. Yeah. I think the stage is finally set after those excellent answers for my follow-up I was going to say. No, because it's kind of what I noticed when I was in Italy was that the Virgin of Guadalupe stands for the Americas.
Yes, she's the Empress of the Americas.
Well,
that's one of her titles.
We in the United States of America see her a lot as Mexico or the Southwest. But like in Italy, it's two whole ass continents because she's the Empress of the Americas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like these fuzzy boundaries, that these notions of things that change, these cultures on the move that have these different meanings depending on where you are. Anyway, that's my follow up.
Yes, and let's talk about how messy that is in Utah, which was Mexico.
Which was North Mexico at one point.
Yeah.
Friggin' James K. Polk.
And has families who've, at least as far as I know, based on the reading that I've done, have lived here since it was Mexico. And yet, even as somebody who studies this and who is like trying not to be an asshole about it, I still sometimes revert to this lens that I grew up with, which is that the Mexican community in Utah is a migrant community.
Yeah,
and like a lot of them did migrate here, but not all of them. And anyway, sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No.
But,
also, because I brought up my mom. Hi, Barbara, if you're still watching. But she asked who the guest was the other day, and I told her about you, and I told you a little bit about her research. And she was like, I didn't know they had Catholics in Utah, and I was like, Mom, Utah was Mexico. And she was like, it was? And I'm like, yeah, it certainly was.
Yes. Imagine my surprise growing up in Utah later than I should have, learning it was Mexico. So yes, she is the Empress of the Americas, but it's also true that she has a really intense, strong relationship with Mexico as a country.
Oh yeah.
Politically. She was part of the Mexican Revolution, right? People carry her image for Mexican Independence Day parades.
Yep.
She on the day of the 12th, her feast day, when I went to the parish that I'm working at, which is also named for her.
Naturally.
Yes. Not all. A lot of the people who came were wearing red, white, and green. So colors from the Mexican flag. And like specifically were wearing stuff about Mexico. Granted, there were also people there wearing stuff that said like El Salvador, right? That were marking, hey, I'm here for the Virgin of Guadalupe, not from Mexico.
El Salvador's her kid, not her.
But my point is, there's a reason, right?
Yeah.
That we connote her with Mexico. But what you're saying is also true. She's both.
Great series of answers, Jessie. I feel like the real test is to ask Daisy if they learned anything from that.
I feel like I just learned a lot of shit from that.
Yeah, it was very informative.
Yeah, especially as a person who's like didn't really grow up religious and then also hasn't studied religion in particular. I found that super interesting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, I know some stuff. I mean, growing up in Southern California, there's a lot of Catholicism too. So,
and a lot of the
for similar reasons.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. So it's not like this figure has been devoid from my life or anything.
Sure.
No.
But I don't think I always got the like greater significance from it, other than like politics as I got older. Like I understand the political relationship with Mexico and things like that. But
right, and her role in political advocacy for migrants is also a really important thing.
Yes.
Mom of the Americas.
Yeah, and like her story, right, of appearing to Juan Diego, who is an indigenous man.
Yep.
It's complicated. Sometimes granted, as an outsider, I probably don't get to say this, but like sometimes I feel like the way. Okay, the best way to say this is that, as I understand it, people who grew up in Mexico embrace and are not necessarily living in a primarily indigenous community still embrace an indigenous identity in a way that people in the United States do not at all. And there are lots of reasons for that.
A big one being the revolution.
But it's very startling, I think, as somebody who didn't grow up in that world, to see people performing as Aztecs.
Yeah.
And to understand that is, like, maybe on some level, like, not that they actually grew up in an Aztec community, but that is also a real part of their culture and heritage that they're honoring, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's messy.
I think you did a very you had a very good attempt at unpacking all of that. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Let's move to this next one because this is directly pulled from like our like interview collection form, which you filled out very well. And the thing I want to bring up from that is you gave a very interesting definition of folklore. How folklore, in your own words, is the ability and requirement to be honest in regards to your own beliefs. So how does that work? How is folklore an ability and requirement to be honest in your own beliefs?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Jill Rudy, because she's the one who taught me that.
Ooh, nice.
Not in those words.
She's back.
But the way that she gave in my very first folklore class, our first fieldwork assignment was to say, okay, you need to sit down and think about who you are and what you believe and your relationship to the person that you're interviewing, and you have to write that as part of your fieldwork report.
Fascinating.
And I was like, oh boy. But the reason that that's a big deal for me now is because the very first time I talked to somebody as part of my fieldwork for my dissertation, the very first conversation I had was with a guy who asked me, as soon as I explained what I was studying, like, okay, so, like, do you believe in the Virgin? Like, do you believe the story of her appearing to Juan Diego? And I was like, that's a really complicated question, and I don't have a good answer. I'm sorry. And I mean, it's okay not to have an answer, but also I was like, yep, that's the thing. And I forgot that was the thing, is that I have to be really transparent about my relationship to what I'm studying and what I believe. And in a more recent conversation with my advisor, Dr. Soli Maratero.
Oh, cool.
She told me, without, it's getting a little personal, but that's okay. She told me, listen, you have to own up to your relationship with the Virgin. Whatever that is, you need to own it and acknowledge it and be upfront about it with the people that you're developing relationships with. Because if you are treating, like, if you're not confiding in them and explaining to them where you're coming from, then you're leaving up this barrier, right?
Yeah.
Of you're the interlocutor and I'm the folklorist, and I don't have to unpack my own issues here. So anyway, I don't know that I necessarily believe, like, I don't believe in the same way that somebody who is Catholic does, because I'm not. But I definitely believe that the Virgin of Guadalupe has a really important influence on my life, and that she has, at least in my understanding, intervened in my life.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that, but that's a hard answer to give. So anyway,
I think this is a part of why I always like tease you and say you're functionally Catholic now. I think what I'm actually saying is no atheist would do Virgin Mary field work because it would be too like it would be too much of a minefield talking to Catholics about mom and not believing in her. That's kind of the joke I keep making. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's fair.
Which is something you're actually addressing. That, like, you know, you can do that. Yeah. It's not like you have to, I don't know, like be like, it's not like you have to be a vegan to study vegans or whatever. But you also have to own up to your own beliefs and shit if you're gonna do this right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that's super scary, and I'm bad at it, let's be honest, but it's something I'm trying to get better at, because if I want people to trust me enough to talk about their experiences with the Virgin of Guadalupe, why are they going to do that if I'm not going to talk about my experiences, right? Like, why would they?
Exactly.
That brings up such a good point. I haven't really, like, fully fleshed out before thinking about what it means to do, like, ethnography or field work, where it's not just the practice of being vulnerable, but it's also all that interpersonal work that you have to do to get to the point of knowing what you're even being vulnerable about.
Oh, yes.
In, like, a way. Like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, I feel this thing in this moment. It's like, how do I feel or believe in that thing in the first place?
Imagine,
which takes a really long fucking time to figure out, depending on what you're talking about. Yeah,
and change while you're doing your work.
Yeah, also that.
So, like,
yeah, Daisy, imagine this happening to me with, like, the concept of my home country while I did my dissertation research.
I can
as I start doing my dissertation research in 2016. Just do the math, you know? Yeah, that's something I think a lot of people deal with and don't know they're about to deal with when they start doing field work.
And there's not a lot of good spaces for us to talk about that.
No.
Like, even in class or, like, with advisors, it's still kind of like there's some kind of layering there that depersonalizes it, or it puts it into this other context where I'm glad that we get a chance, like, on this show to talk about stuff like that, because there aren't a lot of spaces where we get to unpack those more troubling or difficult or uncomfortable parts of doing field work, where you actually have to like really figure out what being vulnerable is step by step in action in the field, because we just are like, be vulnerable. Okay, what does that mean? Like, how do we actually do it?
Yeah.
Like,
and a lot of feelings about this, but I think especially when it comes to religion and spirituality in academics, in my experience, except for people who are belief scholars, people aren't good at talking about it. And they don't want to talk about it. It makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so you can't have a discussion very successfully in a classroom where you're like, yeah, so I'm having like a faith crisis and it's affecting my fieldwork.
Yeah.
Because people are like, what?
Okay, talk.
Your faith?
Whoa.
We can't talk about your faith.
Can't talk. Yeah, exactly.
The academy in a lot of ways is built in opposition to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, to that
Absolutely.
that framework of thinking. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Enlightenment. Let's like
Yeah.
Oh, someone do it in chat. Someone do it in chat. Someone do it in chat.
Yes,
Exclamation point Enlightenment in chat.
I said a stupid thing last week about the Enlightenment.
Nope. Jessie has now canonized the Enlightenment as a running joke. Someone. There we go.
Oh God.
I love you. Anyway.
Jessie, I don't know if you're seeing chat, but whenever someone does exclamation point Enlightenment in chat, it says, of all the smart shit I said, the one dumb shit got clipped. Daisy.
From me, which is something I said last week.
Yeah.
The dumb shit I said was that I didn't want to use the word enlightenment because I hate it so much.
No, that's not what you said.
So that's basically
You said you didn't want to say enlightening because it was a reference to the Enlightenment.
Yes, yeah,
Oh.
the same div.
No, it's not. Again, like I said, it's not as if God said, let there be light, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, I invented that. That's not.
No, okay, but we can
It was some
talk
dumb
about
shit.
appropriation. Because they sure as hell appropriated that.
Yes,
as well.
yeah, well,
Jesse's on my side.
That's a much more nuanced take than you had last week, Daisy.
Jesse is interpreting my dream brain. Thank you.
Okay, maybe Jessie can be your co-host and be like the Daisy Whisperer, but I'm still gonna bust your chops. Got it?
Okay, that's fair.
Thank you, James Alton Bell, for posting it in chat too.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone
Sam.
watching this on YouTube, look that up. But anyone in Twitch chat right now, you can watch that.
Oh my God.
That's my new favorite running joke. Like Daisy's vendetta against the Enlightenment. I mean, for good. And to be fair, you have a legitimate grievance, but I just think it's funny.
No more enlightened. We're going backwards. We're going full on dirt brain, please.
No, you
How
just.
can I get to the center of the earth as far away?
No,
It's not
don't
like you
buy
don't.
into their framework. Don't do it. The light did not come. The light is there.
See, I always
Right.
assume it's not that like you wanted to go back to dirt brain. I just thought like we didn't. I always thought the Daisy take was we didn't give like Hegelian dialectics a hard enough shake.
Oh, well that I mean like that's like actually
Oh.
I'm playing on the joke a little bit.
Okay,
But yeah,
okay.
no, I
See,
yeah.
I get it, Daisy. I get it.
I get it.
Okay, so aside from conversations I had at my house and probably with Dom
Yeah.
about our experiences religiously, and with no, those were pretty much it. It was really hard to figure out that, like, in grad school, that I was not okay being in the LDS church anymore, and what that meant for me spiritually, and what that meant for my fieldwork now.
Mhm.
And
Oh my God,
I
yeah,
wish
I can only imagine. And like culturally, lots of things. Yeah.
and
It's all
like
together.
honestly, I was kind of afraid. Like I felt like I had to come out as not Mormon. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like
I-
people had accepted me as one way, and then I had to like explain to people
This-
why and how, even though I didn't really owe
This
them
is
that. But
literally
I
the
felt like I
story
did.
of the band Imagine Dragons, right?
I think so.
Hey
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
I think so actually.
Believer is a great
Yeah.
song. But I just so I guess now like I don't
There's,
feel
like-
comfortable saying that I believe in like a white male God necessarily,
Mhm.
but like, do I believe in things spiritually? Yeah, but it's messy.
Yeah.
Does like I don't know how to ask this like delicately.
Well, I'm not being delicate.
Okay, so like in what ways of like witchcraft like filled that niche in your life?
Okay, so this is also really not hard to talk about here, but hard to talk about, and I haven't done it yet with any of the people in my fieldwork because I don't know how to
Yeah.
broach that subject at
Yeah.
all. Period. But what did happen for me is that I started. How did it even start? I don't remember. But as I started looking for maybe more like feminine examples of the divine, but also like more maybe non-gendered examples of the divine.
You
Like,
mentioned brujeria
Yeah.
mhm.
early
Yeah.
on. Maybe there's
Yeah.
something there.
Well spotted.
There is. And I started feeling a lot more comfortable online in spaces where people were talking about the individuality of their spirituality, which is a cliche for a millennial, I get that. But they were talking about it in a
I
way
feel
that
it's a
was
boomer
like
thing.
I own my practice.
Yeah.
My practice is mine.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I can share it with people in this online community, but
Mhm.
nobody else gets to tell me how to do it. And coming from an incredibly structured religious environment, that was like,
Yeah. I can
oh
see
my
that. Yeah.
gosh, my
Yeah.
brain blew up. I was so excited. And that very quickly did lead me into brujeria, which is
Mhm.
witchcraft, but also not, because it comes in a lot of ways from curanderismo and from specific folk healing traditions from Mesoamerica. So, and to some extent from Africa. So it's messier.
Mhm.
And I would say that European witchcraft, even though it comes from like a much
Mhm.
different heritage, has developed a similar habitus online. Like people hang out and talk about those things, even though they're drawing from very different patrons or deities or whatever,
Yeah.
cultural legacies. And so without feeling like I necessarily can, how do I say this? Without feeling like I get to appropriate somebody else's cultural legacy,
Mhm.
I can be like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about ways that Celtic folklore has influenced my witchcraft, and then get awesome things by learning about brujeria, even though I'm not a bruja, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can benefit from that and learn from it and feel like the Virgin of Guadalupe is part of my spiritual life. And I feel like that's okay. And in a structured environment, that would not be okay because you'd be mixing boxes.
There's something about like all of the loaded vocabulary you're using that I feel like I'm drawing a connection in the sense that like when you say that you were at one point part of like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and then like you had to explain to people that you don't feel as much that way anymore, or like that there was a transition period, like because there's so much of that archetype that is attached to the language, I feel like that's the part that you have to continually confront. Like even when you're talking about brujeria or like these other kinds of influences, like even so, and maybe this is just like a thing in religious studies, somebody tell me who's like more invested in that, but like every word, the language that we have for it is so loaded that it's almost like impossible to really get the full picture of the experience of the individual without really unpacking all of them at once, because
really
you're
good way to
using
put it.
I don't
Yeah.
know, like there's
Sounds like
it's
Ray.
diff-
You quoting
it's
Ray
different.
Cashman? I feel like Ray Cashman says
No.
something like that.
well
Not like
on
you stole
purpose.
from Ray Cashman, but I feel like
Or
you're
not on
getting
purpose.
no.
Maybe.
I guess I'm saying you're getting to a point, people. You were
Yeah,
like,
like-
oh, I don't know anything about religious studies, but goes on to
Let's talk about religious
goes on to
I mean, maybe,
paraphrase
like,
Ray Cashman.
I don't know, like I don't know what like language the scholars use or whatever, but when I'm thinking about it, it's like different to say like I'm having an emotional mental health crisis related to feeling this way and this way, but the second you put like a diagnosis on it, that has the same connotation. I wonder if there's a parallel in language use for this like religious experience.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm a like people say I'm a spiritual person, almost to distance themselves from the vocabulary that comes with all of these like loaded attributions to them. I don't know what I'm sensing something about this because it's really and maybe that's part of the reason it's so hard to talk about, because
I think so.
There's so much assumption that just gets loaded into saying like I, am joining this community or I'm leaving this community or what, like by putting those words on it, it makes it harder to explain rather than just being like, hi, I am my own person who's having an experience that's different than the greater community's experience. I don't know. It feels like almost... I don't like categories is what I'm trying to say, and I feel like the connotations of these categories are make it really hard to talk about.
They do, and so, organized religion historically has used those categories to create power, right? Like that's that's a thing, and especially in my growing up experience, labels for people in terms of their relationship to the church were incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So if you say I'm active, that means I go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I follow the commandments. I pay my tithing. If you say that person's less active, what you're saying is they don't come to church as much. But what you're really saying is I don't know about their relationship to this community.
Yeah.
Like that's in question.
Yeah.
And if you say excommunicated, that's like a whole nother layer of like and oh, sorry. Eric just is listening to me and pointed out Jack Mormon, which is probably less of a term than it used to be.
Yeah, Jack Mormon. Good folk speech term.
But here's the thing, is that that's a folk speech term because there is no good term within the community for somebody who still believes parts of it, but is not a full believer. There's no good word for that.
And it's always negative rather than exploratory.
Yes.
It's like you don't want to be called that because you have deviated too far from the good practice of the faith and you've gone, like, your exploration is negative.
Yes. Yes.
I guess
that's...
Well, I was just gonna say in the one Catholic, the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. I guess the word I always heard was creaster.
What? I've never heard that word before.
You only go to church on Christmas and Easter. You're a creaster.
Oh,
that's hysterical.
Okay. Yeah.
This is
okay.
I am a creaster now. I am definitely a creaster.
We've talked about this, but this is what people come home from their missions and say about Catholics.
That we're all creasters. Okay. Okay, whatever.
Look, we know why this is happening, right? It's another power move. It's like, look how devoted and spiritual we are as compared to this church that has so much history and so many devoted people and martyrs. We're not going to talk about that.
I would say what we said about Mormons in Catholic school, but I think it might offend some people in chat who were on AO3. No, we always just say Judaism is a new hope. Christianity's return Christianity's Empire Strikes Back. Islam is Return of the Jedi, and Mormons are some fanfic.
Look, here's the thing. No, here's the thing. I love that joke, and I've heard it a lot, and I love it. I've even loved it when I was still Mormon. Yeah, but I love it more now. Also, because I love fanfic.
Yeah. Also, that's not as big as an insult as you think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
there's a lot more.
In many ways, is the most influential.
Yeah. In many ways, Star Wars is forever shackled to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Let's not. I mean, we can debate the merits of Wattpad versus AO3 later, but.
Oh God, if you're gonna defend Wattpad, that might be the spiciest take so far. I just think we have AO3 chatters. Chatters.
Do I have to? Yeah, that's probably it's a different story.
Yeah.
Wattpad was useful for me. Let's put it that way.
That's good.
Yeah. What was it? Not this last mass, but a couple masses ago that I was at.
I wouldn't know. It's been since Christmas.
The
I'll go this Sunday. It's fine.
He was saying, you know, a lot of people like to say "soy creyente," I'm a believer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a way of doing that middle positioning where you're like, yeah, I believe in
Oh,
God,
yeah.
and I believe in probably the Virgin Mary,
I'm not going to hell.
but I don't really go to church very much. And while that is sometimes positioned as a negative thing, this person in the clergy was doing that. For me, the fact that that is such a vital and important part of, as I understand it, Catholic history, is that space is part of what drew me to it in the first place. Is
Yeah.
that there's such an amazing landscape of vernacular Catholicism
Oh, yeah.
that has just had less time to grow in Mormonism. It's there, but it hasn't been around as long, so
Yeah,
it's not as big yet.
What, 18 what? 23?
Oh my gosh, don't ask me that. I'm so bad.
Well, I mean,
Can
like,
we actually have a
when
joke
does-
for
when
this?
does-
Are you ready?
yeah.
The joke is that when people leave the church, they get the cloud of darkness. So
Oh,
people forget
like,
everything.
is that what you have? You have the cloud of
Yeah,
darkness?
cloud of
Cloud of
darkness.
darkness.
Like, I forget.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm a bad
rip.
person.
It's okay. I'm sure it's
The joke I was
silly.
making was that, like, when are Catholics, like, the schism, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, way longer time. Yeah.
1830 is what the internet told me.
Was the first vision, or was when the church was formed?
Oh, when the church was formed.
I think
I'm going-
1823. What you're thinking of is probably the first vision.
And honestly, I'm just doing
okay.
like trying to remember the first play or the first verse of the Passion play in pageant in Book of Mormon. I'm gonna take you back to biblical times, 1823. You know,
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Book of Mormon the musical.
Book
I
of
was
Mormon the
thinking you said-
musical. When I
When you were
say
talking
Book of
about
Mormon, it's the
pageants.
South Park musical. Sorry.
Sorry, I was thinking of the pageants, the Nauvoo
Oh.
pageant, the Hilkamora pageant.
Yeah,
the
but
Manti
like
pageant.
there's like each act has a pageant, and the
Yeah.
Act 2
Yeah.
pageant in Book
Which
of
is-
Mormon has played telephone. Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
But
I love it.
Anyway,
What a good. I didn't understand what was happening till Sue Tui explained that joke to me. Because she's from the burned over district, right? Yeah.
that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
so much
Yeah,
sense.
she explained
Oh.
she explained that joke in that musical to
She's
me.
been to the Hilkamora pageant.
Yeah.
She knows about it. Yeah. But I don't know if this is a good space to talk about this, but when I was at Mass this last Sunday, which was Palm Sunday,
Sunday.
getting ready for Easter.
Hosanna, hey, Zana. Zana, huh?
There was a person who I had talked to like 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't gone to Mass for like 3 weeks for lots of reasons, mostly that I was tired and didn't want to. And he was like, "Man, it's been like 3 weeks.
No,
where
God.
were you?"
What a good
And
Catholic.
When I tell you that I got so triggered because I felt like I was right back where I started.
Yeah.
Where I didn't go to church for a Sunday and all of a sudden I was a bad person. And that's not what he was saying. He was like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. Like, are you okay?" Maybe he was like throwing me shade. I don't know. But probably not.
Little column A,
But-
little column B in my approximation. I don't know him personally, but the Catholics they do know.
Yeah, it could have been. But part of, I think, what any person's healthy attachment to their spirituality and religion is that sense of ownership. I'm like, I didn't want to. I wasn't there. That doesn't make me a bad person.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that in my experience. If you grew up in a really structured context, to ever really feel like that's your choice. And people do it.
Yes.
Lots of people do it and feel awesome about it. But I couldn't.
But yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah.
Jesse, I want to ask you one more serious question, if I may. And
Okay.
these have been great answers so far.
This is like amazing. We have more questions. We can't get to them all.
Yeah.
Because of how awesome this has been.
I will ask this one. I'll ask this one though.
Yeah, this is
how,
good. This is good.
How do you use folklore in your job as a librarian?
I'm so glad that was the question that you picked.
Thank
Woo!
Thank you,
All right.
sleuths.
you, Sleuths.
I work for a Montessori school. And it's a self-described inclusive Montessori school, which means in addition to using the Montessori philosophy of like student-led education, whatever,
Mhm.
they're intentionally seeking out ways to have classrooms with a higher percentage of people with special needs and with different levels of learning abilities.
Hmm.
So normally in a Montessori school, you would have like a range of abilities in a classroom. They group kids in like 3-year ranges usually so that older students can teach younger students. But this is just like adding to that model where students are teaching each other and they're trying to build a space for people of different abilities in the same classroom. And it's hard. It doesn't always work. But one of the things that I love about my job as a librarian is that I get to bring in folk tales and legends and fairy tales and make them accessible on those different levels at the same time, which, like, going back to our religious conversation, is what was awesome about the parables, right?
Yeah.
Is that they were accessible on different levels. And so is folklore. And that's, I don't know. I think that's the biggest part of why I love my job, is because I take the same story and I teach it to a 1-year-old and I teach it to a 7-year-old and I teach it differently, but they both enjoy it, right? They both love it, except for when I did the 3 Billy Goats Gruff for the toddlers and they got really scared.
No.
That was a mistake. The troll under the bridge was too scary.
Oh. Okay, it sounds like you're talking about performance to me.
It is. It is. I'm performing, and in my older classes, they're performing too. I get the students to perform with me, whether that's through hand gestures or taking on a character in the story.
Yeah.
And like when I did Puss in Boots, oh my god, the students were in love. They were like, "This is the best story we've ever heard."
Oh hell yeah!
And it's also been really cool because my school does a continental focus every year. So, like, this year we're doing Oceania and Asia.
Oh, cool.
And way more so than I ever got in my folklore program, which is nuts. I feel like I've learned about important festivals and religious beliefs and holidays in places of the world that I don't study.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes me so happy that I like understand Ramadan better. And I not like that I'm an expert on it, but at least I understand it better now. And I can talk more fluidly about Easter and Ostara and the conflicts about where the Easter Bunny actually came from. Like, that's awesome. I just love that I get to move from subject to subject all the time. And anyway, I hope the kids love it as much as I do, but I have a ton of fun.
I love hearing you talk about it, honestly. All right. Caroline, you were right. We do absolutely have to ask that one. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to lightning round some fun questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which amigurumi are you most proud of?
Oh, okay. Do I have a picture? Hold on. I probably have a picture, but I don't know where it is. It's a dragon.
Oh, of course. Knowing you,
And
of course.
no, that's why I started crocheting, and specifically the Japanese crochet style of amigurumi was so that I could learn to make these dragons from this specific crochet pattern designer. But I named him Wenceslas for Good King Wenceslas because I finished him around Christmas time, Yuletide. And he's so cute. But even though I don't have Wenceslas here because he guards the checkout computer at the library, he's my students' favorite. They love him. I have my turkey. Hold on, see if my headphones will reach. This was the very first amigurumi that I ever made.
Whoa, that's so good. It's so big.
He's so cute.
That's very
really
good.
Oh my god, that's very good.
I love it. It's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Aw.
Good job.
So, Wenceslas is my friend, but he's really cute.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, Eric's gonna show you the ram that I made him. That's
hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Whoa, that's really
so
good.
cute! Oh my gosh,
these are
that's
so
really
good.
Yeah.
I have so much fun.
Okay, here's the big question. Are you ready?
Okay.
What's your favorite memory from Bloomington Karaoke League?
Oh no! Wait, I think I do. Ooh.
Go for it. What's your gut say?
I think it was when I was Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, that was so funny. How do we even explain this?
And
How do we even explain this?
I don't know how to set the scene. All I know is that I was a raccoon in an orange cut-up shirt from Goodwill.
What?
I ran out from behind the curtain.
No! You're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short. You were no. Daisy. Jessie is selling herself short because she was Mr. Orange from Reservoir Dogs the entire night and had the raccoon makeup on underneath.
Oh my
underneath
God.
the sunglasses. and ran backstage, like stripped out of the suit, came out in like the orange Rocket Raccoon jumpsuit with like a raccoon face and pretended and gunned down the Reservoir Dogs to Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh my god.
That was such a good one. Oh my god. And Dude Man is in the chat, and the other song, so we did Pink, right? We did Pink by Aerosmith as the Reservoir Dogs. And then Dude Man, who was in chat, and I did Stuck in the Middle with You, where I pretended to cut off his ear.
And I just laid there.
And
the
you
whole
laid
song,
there.
I didn't move.
You laid there in a puddle of fake blood. Shouts
Which
to
is
Haley,
so
who taught
gross.
us how to make fake blood out of chocolate syrup and Hawaiian Punch. And
It was awesome, but so gross.
yeah, you laid there in a pile of fake blood and got up at the end and shot me, because that's what Mr. Orange does in Reservoir Dogs. And then
As a
yeah, and then we did Hooked on the Feeling as a Reservoir Dogs, and you came out as Rocket Raccoon and gunned us down.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
So I had like a toy machine
You had a
gun
Groot
just, like,
and a Groot. You had a little Groot that you carried around.
I had a Groot. I did. That's right.
Dude Man wants to know if he was there for that one. or
Oh
just saw
no,
the video.
James Dalton Bell. was
Okay,
there.
sorry, James said that.
That was
James said-
Tarantino night. It was a finals. It was the 2017
Oh my
finals
God.
Tarantino night. Pulp Fiction won. Travis was Uma Thurman. Travis and Uma Thurman drag was like the one everyone remembers from that night.
Yeah. So that was my favorite performance memory. But I mean, this was before I was on the team. But when I saw Dom do Darling Nikki,
You weren't on the team by then?
no, that
Oh
was
my
before I
God.
joined the team. That also, like Olivia Cannibal, changed my life.
Oh my god.
I was like, look at that!
Oh my
I
god.
wanna do that!
And I kind of started the striptease meta of Bloomington Karaoke League that night with that
And it
performance.
was a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My follow-up question, because I guessed I guessed what your answer was going to be, and I have a follow-up question about what I guessed your answer would be.
Okay.
Do you still remember the dance to Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? No, it's so hard. I still can't believe we actually learned that. It was so difficult.
Still harbor aspirations of being like Mary Poppins. But yeah, I think learning that dance, if anything, should have cured me of those. Because, oh my
You
gosh.
don't actually want to
Julie
be Mary
Andrews
Poppins.
and Dick Van Dyke. How? How
What-
did they do it?
Was that one song title night? So that I'm asking, was that the same night we did Pony? Because if so, that's one of our best nights in the history of Bloomington
Oh my
Karaoke League.
gosh. I don't know if it was the same night, but I cannot ever, and I never want to forget the Pony performance.
Dude Man, can I bring this up? You're in chat. Can I bring this up about Dude Man? You think I can? Dude Man is McConaughey and I'm Channing Tatum when we sing Pony. So we do like a Magic Mike routine. And he walks into the audience in the second verse and finds an actual bachelorette party and goes home with actual singles in his actual waistband. Okay, he says, please do. Hell yeah. But
Okay, but also you started with an actual welding helmet.
I still have that for some reason. What am I going to do with it?
It was
Why did you bring that with you?
It's from Pony. It's the best night. Because I'm sitting here flossing, checking your stilo.
Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff. If people are sussing it together from context clues, Jessie and I were in like a competitive karaoke league in grad school.
Also ensuring that I would win 2 truths and a lie in most settings.
I haven't
Because
used
if
that.
I tell people I was in a competitive karaoke league and we won,
Yeah.
they'll be like,
I loved AFS 2019 doing karaoke like the Wednesday night before the conference started with Jen McKenzie and breaking out all the our karaoke choreography. We did like Hall & Oates Private Eyes and everyone's like, how are you so good at that? Pony
Definitely-
was the night that changed my life forever, no lie, says Dude Man. I believe it, buddy. I believe it. I'm very glad you came here to for the karaoke conversation.
also another very beautiful moment was the national anthem.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, it was
No,
Yeah.
it's the national anthem.
It was the
Because that was
national
the same
anthem.
night you and me were gender swapped Troy and Gabriella from High School Musical.
oh yeah.
But the national
And-
anthem was probably the best song. The Whitney Houston's national anthem was the best song we ever did.
And the thing is, the performance of everybody but one person in our group was just us like taking a knee.
Yeah. The dangly boy. And then some person was the flag. And that's all he wore. But moving on. Daisy, there's a question that's highlighted green. Do you want to be the one to ask it?
Sure. I'm happy to ask that. Okay.
And it's actually very relevant to the conversation we've been having all night, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I almost winked in the post for Instagram about this with the schedule.
I bet you would have.
I kind of wanted to, but then I was like, nah, I should save it because I didn't want to give you a clue. Okay, I need to know what the real story about evil pamps are. I need to know the real story about the evil pamps.
Sorry,
I've evil pamp story secondhand like 3 times, and I need to know the real
I think
evil
Caroline and
pamp
I
story.
have both told you the evil pamp story. You gotta hear it from the actual person.
I need to hear the tried and true evil pamp story.
Let me set the stage for you.
Okay.
Because if you are Mormon and you don't drink coffee, your soda caffeine intake is a very important thing that is not to be fucked with.
Yeah.
Okay? You need that. And I started drinking Coke Zero because less sugar, right? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And do we need to explain the background for pamps?
Oh, yes.
It's like carbonated water, right?
Well,
right.
It was specifically a LaCroix
yeah.
shitposting account on Instagram that popped off back in the day.
But I didn't know that. All I knew is that the first time I had really like LaCroix specifically, everybody called it Pamp. And so I just started
all of your shitpost friends called it Pamp.
Yes. All of my friends.
Yeah.
And so I started calling all seltzer water Pamp.
Okay.
Period. And then I got this Coke Zero, and I went to the gas station, and I didn't have very much money left. It was like the end of the pay period. I don't know. And I used my cash, my $1.50, I don't know, to buy a box of Coke Zero. And I was like, this is going to get me through. I'm going to be okay. I have a little bit of caffeine.
Okay.
And
I got the Coke Zero, so it'll be okay.
When I tell you that I got home and realized that this was non-caffeinated Coke Zero, it was dirty water! It was an evil Pamp because it was just carbonation and dirt. I was so angry.
Evil Pamp.
Who created that?
The devil.
Why? At least be a regular Coke. What? Anyway.
Oh my God.
Can we highlight that? Can we highlight that, Daisy? Can we highlight that after the show's done? Okay. Well, I'm laughing too hard to ask a question about Blueberry. Hey,
anything about Blueberry?
Is Blueberry still there?
Yeah, she's around. Blueberry,
the chat will love your dog.
Wake up.
Hi, Bluebee.
I'm gonna pick her up. Hold on.
Go for it.
Oh, come here, lap dog. Come here. You're my 60-pound lap dog.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh, Bluebee. You know, every time I see Blueberry, I still hear our French friend Martin calling her Bluebee.
Bluebee.
Hello, Bluebee. Martin, if it's 5 a.m. in Paris and you're watching this, bonjour, Bluebee.
Yeah, Bluebee.
Bluebee.
Also, she has so many great names.
She's a giant. So, what's the origin of her name? What's the true story about why her name is Blueberry?
Should I let you down, Miss Blue?
No, she's a giant baby. Look at that.
So when I was picking her name, there's a picture book called Blueberries for Sal about a little girl who follows her mom going blueberry picking and then gets lost. And a little bear cub that's following her mom blueberry picking, eating, and also gets lost. And the little girl and the bear cub swap places.
Whoa.
And then realize that they have the wrong mom and they have to switch back. But she's also been eating the blueberries the whole time instead of putting them in her pail. It's a whole adorable story. But blueberries for me are associated with my mom. And they're also a superfood.
That's right.
And she is a super dog. And I was like, hey, I have a super dog. And also it's abstract enough that I felt like I wasn't telling her who to be. So.
Yeah, we can't all name our
awesome.
cats Baby Cat, huh, Daisy?
My cat is a baby forever. It's just...
You're telling her who to be.
Okay, so Blueberry's full name though is Blueberry Finn McGee because I
Oh
didn't
my
want to name
god,
her.
that's cute.
I didn't want to call her Huckleberry, but she's a Blueberry, but she's still Blueberry
Yeah.
Finn. And then her sister
Yeah.
is Magpie, and her sister was
Aw.
named Magnolia Magpie McGee, so she had to have the
That's
same last name.
That's very cute.
Blueberry, you're just being like a giant baby, and it's adorable.
I know. Look at speaking
this-
of
look at this
animals that
big
could also
baby.
have names that are baby.
Yes, that is baby dog.
Are you ready to get down? No.
See you,
No,
Blueberry.
no,
Thank you for
see-
earning us a sub.
Goodbye,
Okay.
doggy. See
There you go. Oh,
Huh.
you ready for bed? So her favorite place to sleep now, besides in our bed, is this spot right here under my feet.
Aw.
We got a bed for her and put it under Eric's desk,
Oh,
and she sleeps there now.
that's beautiful.
So cute. So cute.
All right. Unless anybody's got chat questions for Jessie, there's one more thing to do. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think we got a formal chat question. Just people reminiscing about karaoke.
Honestly, yeah, we're having
The enlightenment.
It's very good. Yeah.
yeah, the enlightenment. We're having too much fun just like chopping it up. Honestly, I think
Yeah. Yeah.
this has gone from being like an interview to just being like
silly.
No, we've
silly
got some
ours.
like good stuff out of this, but like
Yes.
it has mostly been Dom and Jessie goofing.
It's pretty
I feel
good.
like that was awesome and really like was something I needed in my soul.
Well,
So
we
thank
got one
you.
last thing to do, Jessie. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Daisy, you want to
Good.
do the honors?
Sure. Jessie, have you ever made a tier list?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yes?
you're doing
Okay.
better than most of the guests.
Yes. Most of our
Okay.
guests have never done this before.
Okay. Am I watching? Is that what I'm doing? I'm
Yes,
Watching
click
stream.
Watch stream. So tier lists are a thing that we like to do with a lot of our guests, not all of our guests, but a lot of our guests on our show. On Twitch, the tier lists are used to rank everyday things about life and culture and pop culture and whatever, and they come from fighting games. But you know,
Okay.
it's just fun. It's just fun to do something different with them, like rank parts of culture and everyday life, which is what we like as folklorists. So
Awesome.
we
Okay.
have specially designed this tier list for you, ranking from S to D. S being superior, number one, best, better than A plus. D being disaster, dump, terrible, all the worst things. We are asking you to rank fairy tale TV shows.
Hey, awesome. Specifically those ones there on the bottom.
Specifically those ones there in the bottom, and I know what each thumbnail is, and I'll read them off to you, and then you'll tell me where they go on a scale from S to
Okay.
D.
Okay. Because I can't see all of the.
Cool. I got you. I
Yeah,
got
that's
you.
okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well,
For
first,
some reason, my rendition was low key kind of chaotic, but we got there. Whatever.
we got there. We got there.
Yeah.
I'll do it for Lydia next week.
Yeah, so we can recover from our explanation.
Yes.
Usually I do better. My brain melted for a second there. It's fine. We're getting there.
Jessie, your first one up is Grimm.
Hey, I have given an academic presentation on Grimm
I
and
know.
never actually watched a full episode.
Whoa! I didn't realize.
I
Hell
have
yeah.
done lots and lots of studying of screenshots and reading of descriptions of episodes
Hell
and
yeah.
watching clips.
That's Wattpad
I'm gonna
energy.
put it. I'm gonna put it. Ooh, well, you're not wrong. Yeah, I feel very seen right now.
Oh my god.
Ooh. It'd be more what? I'm not gonna go there. Okay. C. I'm gonna put it in C.
B. Wait, B? C? What'd you say?
C.
C.
Letter C.
Uh,
Because I don't, based on what I know of it, I feel like they did an interesting start, but then they didn't really expand or question
Sure.
the fairy tales enough.
sure. Next up is Once Upon a Time.
Okay, Once Upon a Time goes in B, and I will tell you why. Because
Tell
they
me why.
started off with an amazing confluence of stories.
Mhm.
They did really cool things like bringing in Frankenstein later.
Wow,
But-
sounds pretty us so far.
But, oh, also the costumes are
Oh yeah.
freaking amazing. But it went on way too long, and I feel like they did some of the characters dirty. For example, Cinderella, also Red Riding Hood, and yeah, but definitely B, if for no other reason than the evil queen is the best evil queen. Well, except for Snow White and the Huntsman. Other than that.
We had a guest on the show last year who when we dug up dirt on her, found out she was a Once Upon a Time cosplayer.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
That
her-
was
The
her
so
costumes,
costumes, though.
Snow White, right? Did you do Snow White, Daisy?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was a
Yes.
really good Snow White.
Snow White in the fairy tale world is amazing.
Yeah.
She's got a great, or in the real world. Both costumes are cool.
Next up,
Okay.
and this has been brought up on the show so many times.
It really has.
The 10th Kingdom.
Okay, I think I've seen one episode, half of an episode of the 10th Kingdom.
You're a tenth
So
of
I
the
don't
way
really-
there. I think there's only 10
I
episodes.
don't feel like I'm qualified, but
You can leave it. You can leave it. You can leave it off. You can leave it off.
we'll put it in B. I feel like that's a solid
Above
guess.
once. Below
After
once.
once.
Okay. Okay.
Below once.
Next up,
Okay.
when you mentioned it earlier, I was like, "Oh hell yeah, this tier list is gonna
Hell
write
yeah.
itself as Lost Girl."
Yeah.
Okay. Lost Girl, introduced to me by Gina Jorgensen at my very first AFS.
Oh, that's
my
that,
God.
that's that Wolf Among Us connection.
Yeah. Oh my
Also
god.
one of my favorite fairy tale shows ever. I feel like I want to put it in S, but I can't.
Why not?
And because of the fucking last season.
Oh,
destroyed it. If it had cut off at the second to last season, I would put it in S. But they didn't.
It's an A+.
They tanked
It's
it.
an A plus.
It's an A+.
They just tanked it.
But
ne-
also such a good take on a succubus. So good.
the
great.
next one we've got is Jim Henson's The Storyteller.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in A, if only for the wide breadth
Yes,
that it covered.
very well.
That was good.
Yes.
This is like
that's
how
true,
I know
yeah.
Hans my Hedgehog and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is this low A, high A?
Below
Okay.
Lost Girl.
Okay, okay.
Lost Girl's got a special place in my heart.
Next up we've got Dude Man is saying S tier. Next up we've got 2010's Beauty and the Beast.
Is that the movie or the TV show? Oh, that's the TV
show.
show. Okay. I that was a guilty pleasure for me, that
Okay.
TV show. And I don't feel like it was great television. I feel like, have you seen Rain? The CW show?
yeah.
Okay. It's like probably about that level. So
Well, the costumes are great on that show.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. It was a guilty pleasure, but it's just not well written. So we're gonna put it in C. Sorry.
Low C,
Feel bad.
below Grim.
Yeah.
Got
yeah.
it.
I feel bad about that, but
Next up, the 1980s Beauty and the Beast.
okay. I have never seen that.
Written by George Martin.
Yeah, I was like George Rorgy
Mhm.
Martin.
George Rogan
Yeah, let me-
Martin.
I know I've looked at it, but I haven't watched it, so I got to look at pictures. Hold on. So I can.
Ron
Right.
Perlman. Yeah, Ron Perlman as the Beast with a lot
Oh
of
my
prosthetics.
God!
You know,
No,
I
I
keep saying
didn't look into this. Why have I not
Oh,
watched
you
this?
gotta watch this.
You have to
it's
watch
such a smart
it.
show too. It's such a smart
It's
show.
pretty
Okay,
good, yeah.
immediately S tier.
Okay. You know what? This is my Aunt
seen
Paula's
S
favorite
tier.
show. This is my Aunt Paula's favorite show, and
No,
this actually
because-
got her into other George R. R. Martin shit.
because that. What is that? I don't. Yeah.
That's
S
the
tier.
Beast.
Okay. Awesome. Love it.
Next up, I guess we just have it on here. I don't know, as a meme. Next up is Supernatural. What haven't they been? What genre aren't
Woo.
they?
Can we not put Supernatural in S tier? Like, I feel like I'm contractually obliged to put it on
Oh
S
my
tier.
god. Okay.
Oh my god, that is gonna be spicy
That's
for some
spicy
people.
for some
in the
people.
chat.
Hold on, because how many years ago was this? The poll that came out that Supernatural was the only thing holding our politically divided society together.
I do.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that
good.
also because the fan fiction for that show is
That
So,
show is just
yes.
fit. To me, someone who's never seen that show is fan fiction for the Book of Enoch, but I don't actually know.
whoa. Whoa!
Just listen to the descriptions of the show. I'm like, this is like a non-canonical
That is a
text.
hot take, and I would love to ask you more about that. Okay,
Where does it go tippy top of S?
no, it goes after the
After the Ron Perlman Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Next up, which your opinion might have changed after Wolf Among Us, but Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow was actually really good. The parts of it that I saw. I didn't watch it all the way through, so I don't know if it tanked later. But the writing was intelligent. and I feel like the characters were good and the costumes were okay. So
That's what I've heard.
we're gonna put that like after Once Upon a Time, but before 10th Kingdom.
Okay. Respectable. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jesse, you and Shirley Shields, have you ever hung out?
I don't. Have we?
From George Mason.
You gotta.
Chad is saying the two of you need to be in the same room together
You
at some
gotta.
point.
Okay.
Yeah, you
okay.
gotta.
Okay.
If just to talk supernatural.
Okay.
Daisy, can I get some leleles for this next one?
La 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 la.
La la la
Yeah.
la 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 la. It's The Witcher. Where are we putting The Witcher?
Oh, fuck yeah! No, The Witcher goes in
Toss
S
up a
tier.
roll.
Whoa!
Witcher
Where?
goes in
Where?
S tier.
Where?
Oh, that's a hard question for me. Hold on, I gotta think about this. Oh, this is a but also I love Lost Girl so much, and I'm putting it above Lost Girl. I feel like this is wrong, but I have no other choice. I have to put it first. It has to go first.
Whoa!
Whoa! I mean, that is
Hear me
like
out. Hear me out. Yaskier has been done dirty by that series, but he is an amazing actor, and I love him.
Yes. True.
And I'm here for that scene when he is getting out of the lake in the second season. That's really good.
that's right.
But also their research is very nice. And I know the rumor mill says that it's because Henry Cavill is obsessed with the books and does a good job, but I just think it's because their source material is so rich.
Exactly.
I think
It's
that's
also
why.
it's also because like Andrei Sapkowski like really knows his like
Yeah.
fucking like
Oh.
not just like fairy tales but like his fairy tale scholarship. There's no way you write those
That-
books and have
and
not
it-
been
and
in
it's
like
not
a folklore
just, like,
seminar.
Fairy tales, it's like a very specific cultural matrix that he's drawing
Exactly.
from.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting
And I'm all
it.
for that. All
And
for it.
Yeah.
Last
Totally.
up is Tell Me a Story.
Okay, I don't know what that is. You're gonna have to give me context,
It's like
and then I'll guess.
it's a CW show that's like Little Red Riding Hood but edgy.
Wait, how have I hung out in the trashy waters of the CW more than this? But, I mean, don't tell me I'm wrong. You know
No,
it's true.
you're so right.
You're very correct.
Oh, it has Paul Wesley in it. Okay. Okay. And it's about Little Red Riding Hood?
I think.
Okay, well that screenshot
Maybe
is
there's a big bad
terrible.
wolf. There's definitely like bank robbers with 3 little pig
Okay,
masks.
I don't know. So we're gonna put it after Grimm, but before the Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, okay. Is there anything you want to change? Do you want
No, but I
something in
wish
D tier?
Oh. You can move Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
The
so
late
sorry.
no, the late tier list
Oh.
downgrade. Chat loves to see it.
Love it. Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Hey, I also feel guilty about putting Lost Girl not on S tier, but I was so angry. It made me so mad.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair.
yeah.
I guess
Okay.
the advantage that Supernatural has is that it has like 500 fucking episodes, so you can like pick
Also-
and choose what is S tier about the show. Lost Girl has 2 good
yeah.
seasons and 1 bad one. Yeah.
Let's be clear. I'm not like, have I seen every episode of Supernatural? No. Do I
I'd
need
be
to
concerned. I'd be
appreciate
concerned
its
if you had.
value as a cultural artifact
Yeah.
and as a totem? Also, no. I went to a Comic-Con once where somebody was dressed as the car.
Nice.
And I was like, you are my hero right now. So that stays.
I honestly I can barely tell the difference between a Sam and a Dean.
Oh, in cosplay?
Oh no, just which one is who?
Okay, I will tell you how. I will tell you.
Oh,
Because Dean in Gilmore Girls is not Dean in Supernatural.
that's what confuses me.
You gotta swap. Swap
No,
the
I
names.
can't. It's too much. My brain is all Amy Sherman Palladino'd out.
Also, Dean in Supernatural is way better than Sam, and that's just objectively true.
Okay. I'm gonna try to do the thing I do with this, Daisy.
Do it.
On a scale from The Witcher to the CW Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
How hard have you read the source material? Okay, we have the official Fairy
my
Tale
God.
TV shows tier list brought
I
to
was
you
gonna-
by Jessie Riddle. What were you gonna say, Days?
I was gonna say how much pierogi representation do you get?
Oh, zero pierogi representation. Well, to be fair, I don't know if they've had pierogi representation in the show of The Witcher, but we do love getting it as a health item in the game.
Yes.
Oh, another way that Lost Girl let me down. Sorry to talk about a show I love so much, but like, man, what were they doing with the Valkyries? That was bad source material use. It was dumb.
I'm yeah. I also hated that thing on a show I definitely saw.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Jesse, this is awesome.
Jesse, this has been so much fun.
Okay,
I'm
you
so
guys are
glad
awesome.
Someone in chat's
on the
already
show.
on top of it. Someone in chat is already on top of it. But ladders for Jesse, people. All the ladders you got.
Yes. So many ladders. If you don't have ladders, you can do GGs. All that stuff. You know the drill. Thanks for being a guest on your show. This was super, super fun.
This was so much fun.
I just did a bunch of ladders. Bam.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah. Make a giant ladder in the chat, people.
I was gonna ask, like, where can people find you? The Riddle Jess on Twitter and Instagram, and at church on Sundays.
Some Sundays.
Yeah, some of them.
Not every Sunday.
Field work.
Yeah, Instagram's great.
Anything else to plug? Anything else to plug?
Jujutsu Kaisen. But specifically the closing song to Jujutsu Kaisen, which is called Lost in Paradise. If you ever need, like, just a jam, like, because you're having a really shitty day, that works. It's a good song.
I got you.
That's most people don't think that hard about their plugs. I just want to say. That's a very thoughtful plug. Jessie Riddle, everyone.
I'm right now.
Thank you for posting that in chat.
This would be great outro music.